Today, I am happy to introduce to you James L. Rickard, who has written Planet Kill. Planet Kill is a vella you can read on Amazon.com and download on your Kindle. A vella is a series of episodes released over time that eventually unfolds into a story. For James's work, I've read 5 of the episodes out of his total of 51 so far. Good evening, James. Thank you for taking the time to talk with us. Can you walk us through Planet Kill and tell us what that's like?
I sure can, Tony. Thanks a lot, man. Hey, it's a story that a lot of people may be familiar with. It's a story about alien invasion and what would Earthlings do if a superior race did come to the Earth. How would we deal with it?
That's a good question. Let's
Exactly.
take a look at the. I'm going to edit a bunch of stuff tonight. Let's take a look at that cover. And there's a lot going on here compositionally, and you can definitely tell there's some sci-fi action going on.
I happen to have something right here.
It's a
Except
bit
it's
blurry.
yeah. So do you have one?
I do have one, and I'm going to put
Good.
up.
Okay. Good.
I'll put up a graphic here.
Okay.
But yeah, can you tell us about the cover? And looks like we got some bombers and troopers going on.
Actually, that's a cover that I designed myself. It's like I like to do that. It's during World War II. The Germans tried to make a winged bomber. And one night I was just cruising the web and came across that picture. And so I decided, well, I just make, duplicate it, make 2 of them. And then also I found a picture down here at the bottom of some guys in a futuristic setting doing a battle. So I did my thing, just put them both together, and the rest is history.
Yeah, one thing that I thought was pretty interesting about this particular one is this jumps right into the action. There's no delay, and everything is happening all over the world all at once. So how are you able to map all that out and keep it, together and know what's going on where?
I don't know. What it was. Usually I say I'm a pantser. I write by the seat of my pants. But I realized a few episodes in that I was getting into some deep doo-doo right there with that attitude. So I started making brief outlines, just saying who's where and where I want them to be, that type of thing. Who's who, that, things like that.
Right. All right. What are you currently working on besides Planet Kill?
Okay, I've started another story that's also somewhat dystopian in the near future. It sounds weird, but it's really not an erotica story, but it's about the Earth's population is dying off because of the rise of sex toys and sex robots. And so it's an works out to be a police investigation of a guy who's running what I think is turning out to be a black market in sexual toys.
Okay. Sounds interesting.
Yeah.
So this being a vella, what about the format that you like about this versus books?
Well, I like it because it's like you can get away with doing a story in, say, 20,000 words. Whereas for a book, really, you ought to have at least 50, if not 80,000 words. So if you keep your episodes kind of short the way I do, it's like you can, stretch those out for quite a while.
Definitely. And you have written books as well, so it's not just Velas that you're into. I noticed you had some westerns, some sci-fi, action, apocalyptic. You've got the full spectrum going. What
Yeah,
kind of
that's true. I like to say that I'm multi-genre. That's just a nice way of saying my mind wanders.
right? Yeah,
When I grew up as a kid watching way too much television, but even then, it's like I would like, maybe a Western. The next one might have been a war picture. Next one was like cops and robbers. And it just, it's been that way ever since I was like 6 years old or even younger. So it still happens.
yeah, absolutely. And for people who are looking into doing some writing, do you have any advice for them?
Yes, I do, as a matter of fact. Um, Now, again, just got to remember this is my own opinion, but remember everything you do because you never know when you can work it into a story. For instance, one of the very first things I ever worked into a story that I wrote, just a little insignificant detail, was about when I was a little boy and my kid's sister was with me, and we went out to pick some raspberries off of a fence line, and our dog went with us, and so like I would eat one, she would eat one, and the dog would eat two or three. And so it's like I just, always remember that and stuck that into a story. And as a matter of fact, the very first story I ever had published was a story basically based on my childhood. So it's, it's happening. And even now, say like you need a street address or a name of a road, something like that. It's just if you're driving along and you see something that's a really cool name, lock it away, save it in your back pocket. You never know when you can use it.
Yeah, so incorporating those experiences that you had really
Right.
helps you develop your story and
Yes.
gives you also kind of a personal connection with your work, right?
A little bit. Yeah. A lot. Yeah. But yeah, like you said, the personal connection there, it kind of makes it easier to progress the story because you say, well, hey, I've got that taken care of. And now the next page is going to take care of that one.
Sure. And so you were mentioning your sister. Who are your family and friends who have supported you in your writing projects?
Okay. Actually, my sister isn't my editor, although she is an English teacher.
Oh,
But
great. That's
but
handy.
my mom is pretty big on my writing, and that helps a whole lot too. It's and I have a but man, I just have a couple of friends who are really into my writing. I have one who's read all of my stuff, the good and the bad.
Mm,
And but that's the kind of thing. It's like it's like it's one thing to be a fan or something like that. These are the rock solid people. They know there's more to me than just my writing. It's so it may not be the topic of conversation that day. If it is, maybe it's just something like it's like, are you working on anything new? Or if they know I'm writing something, they say how the story is going or something like that. So it's not a big deal, but they're very supportive. If I have a problem or if I say something like, well, what would you do in this situation? Or I've asked my sister a few times. It's like, like maybe I'm writing a story and I need a name, and it's like I'm just an old fart, so I don't want like to use like somebody's name Joe. Maybe it'll work, but for a younger person, it may not work. And so I say, well, what's the name of some of your kids in school? A boy's name, a girl's name, whatever, like that. And she helps me with that.
great. Nice. So given all these action titles, sci-fi, zombie, action, what were some of your favorite movies, books? Were you into comics or shows?
All of them, man. All of
All
them.
of
All those.
them.
Yes, all those questions. My favorite, one of my favorite comic books when I was a kid was the basis for Planet Kill,
Mm,
because right around the mid 60s, I guess it was, there was a very limited run of a comic book called Mars Patrol Total War. And it was about alien invasion. These guys came in, looked just like people on Earth and all that kind of stuff, except I didn't dig the story in one respect because they kind of used, on the Earthlings, used kind of outdated weaponry. Like the guys were using Tommy guns and that kind of stuff. And I said, that's not going to work. But then on if you got to the end of the comic, they had a thing about well, the army's thinking about doing this and doing that, and they have some pictures in there. But as far as movies, let's see. I have always liked The Searchers with John Wayne as far as westerns. War movies, really into war movies. I mean, I've seen a lot of them. as a kid, I'd say the one I probably liked was the story of Audie Murphy to Hell and Back.
Hmm.
It's made clear back in 1955, and so it has that kind of mid-50s feel, gun-ho Americans. I like to see that movie remade, and you could talk a little bit about the fact he had PTSD and struggles out of the war because he was extremely young when he went into the army, and he got out in 45, 46. He was only like 19 then. And it's just the things he did and the things he saw at such a young age, to me, it's just incredible. If
Yeah,
I would redo the movie, maybe it'd probably be too much like Saving Private Ryan, but I'd start him at a scene where he's on the plane going down. He hears the plane exploding, and it reminds him of gunfire explosions. And then you drift back and he thinks about being the war. But see, I wouldn't focus a whole lot on the war years themselves because I would go, get him out of the army, do the National Guard thing, Hollywood cause, and go from there. Then,
sure. Yeah, his life is kind of like a nonstop heroic story. So
yes.
it's
And
just
the thing of it is, I mean, it's almost like a comic book story because it's one of those stories you just wouldn't believe if you didn't know the truth.
right, right. Absolutely. So back to Planet Kill, I was thinking about the character, and I guess with just his descriptions there was the character Zoe being the deputy. I'm 5 episodes into it. Am I going to be seeing a lot more of Zoe?
Yes, you will, because
Great.
see, I started that story with the idea. I said, well, I don't want to make it totally like Mars Patrol. And so that's why I'm going to have the guys being Navy SEALs and all that kind of stuff. But I'm one of those writers who, hey, I'll just let a character take over. And I was, like you said, you're 5 in. I was 5 or 10 in, and I said, hey, this is Zoe's story more than anyone else. And it just kept on going that way. It went in that direction, so I just went with it.
Yeah, one of the real things I really appreciated by that character is that the world is basically in complete chaos, and she's running communications and logistics like it's another day at the office. So just like,
Exactly, yeah.
oh, got to get the kids to school and got to
Yeah.
make sure everything's in order, and then okay, now let's deal with the apocalypse. So
Well, the
pretty wild
funny
to see
thing
that.
is with that story, it's the first time I ever really tackled having a strong female lead in a story like that, and it seemed to go over pretty well. And so that's something else I'm developing, and that's the story I'm doing now. It's just a female detective, and she's got a female partner. I kind of look at it as Rizzoli and Isles meet Soylent Green or something like that.
So in Planet Kill, who would you say is your favorite character?
My favorite character would be, however you pronounce his name, Hero, the Asian guy.
Hero just got a mention in the episode that I'm reading, and it looks like he's just a very level-headed, defensive-minded, but stands his ground kind of character. Is there more in store as far as what his personality is like in the
Yes,
story?
yes. Now the thing of it is, Hero is the one guy who, when I originally planned the story, I was going to make him like the son of a guy that was originally in the Mars Patrol and back in the middle '60s, but it just, that part of the story never panned out, never got developed. So I said, well, I'm this far in, haven't mentioned the Mars Patrol, so I'm not going to.
Right? Yeah, I did see a kind of a atomic age vibe to the story and the chaos. So
Yeah.
do you tend to favor the classic more than the modern, or is it a mix of the two?
No, I do like the classic. It's like, believe it or not, this past weekend, I just saw This Planet Earth for the very first time. And that movie's made back in the '50s. I don't know where I've been, but I like it though. Now, but because with that in mind, though, there were programs when I was a kid like the Outer Limits. Did not like that at all. It scared the bejesus out of me. Uh, but I've always liked the Twilight Zone. Still like
Yes.
Twilight Zone. You know, it's like those are classics, man.
Thank you, James, for sharing your time and insight with us today. We hope that everyone picks up Planet Kill on Amazon.com or Kindle. You can read the first 3 episodes for free, and then it's only pennies thereafter. You can support your favorite authors by clicking the follow button and leave them ratings, leave them reviews, because reviews are like gold. Give them a thumbs up, just as you can click the like button here and subscribe. Until next time, blessings be.
Thanks a lot, Tony. See you.
Thank you.